Hello and welcome to Extra Time with James Bradpool and me, Gary James. Our guests today are from the world of athletics and free running. John Mulkeen, Nick the Ninja Buckley and Jake Salt. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us on Extra Time. Two different areas of sport, but possibly linked in some way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
John, if we come to you, you work for the IAAF.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about your background in athletics and how you came to be involved.
Well, I started off as a sprinter when I was younger. Competed for the local Birmingham club, Birchfield Harriers.
Yeah.
You might have heard of them. I was okay. I wasn't great.
very modest.
Kind of got a few medals at county level, but then I kind of quickly realised that I didn't have the ability to compete at the Olympics. So I thought, how else can I get there? And I almost accidentally fell into journalism. Started off at an athletics magazine. First job out of uni, worked there for a few years. And then before long I started working for the IAAF first as a freelancer, and now I work for them full time. They're the global governing body of the sport. So a bit like what FIFA is to football, the IAAF is to athletics. So I work for them 9 to 5, and whenever there's major champs, so Olympics, World Champs, that kind of thing, I report for them there.
And job-wise, do you travel? I would assume you did.
Yeah, I do travel. I was fortunate enough to go to the World Relays recently, just earlier this month, which is in the Bahamas. So that is a nice trip.
Nice work if you can get it this one, isn't it?
Yeah, not too bad.
Take me and Gary.
And then later this year, the World Champs is in Beijing, so I'll be off there in August.
Were you involved at London at all?
I was, yeah. I was reporting
How was
there.
that?
I know that's going to be the peak of my working.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
It'll never get better.
No. I mean, Olympics is the pinnacle anyway, but for it to be in your own country, the atmosphere there was incredible. Just that the whole city was completely transformed. Well, not just the whole city of London, the whole country for those few weeks.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it. So yeah, it's really good to be involved there.
Just we're going to talk to obviously you guys later about free running, but maybe at school and stuff, athletics. Were you into running or anything like that?
At school, I was always into running. I loved it. Not so much as a PE sport, but just in general, I was always on the playground playing tag and bulldog and all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Oh, the classics.
I just loved running as fast as I could go.
Yeah.
How about you, Jake?
I used to play cricket and relay on the sports days in my primary school, and I did relay again at my secondary school.
Yeah, but you just mentioned something, the British Bulldog. Yeah. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore.
It got banned at my school.
Health and safety rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
That used to be great. It was. Put that in the Olympics, the British Bulldog.
Yeah, have a word, John.
John, we've got coming up here. In fact, not too far from our studios here in Walsall, down in Perry Bar at the Alexander Stadium, coming up on, I think it's the 7th of June.
That's right, yeah.
We've got the Diamond League coming up, and also the IPC Grand Prix final as well. Is that?
That's right. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about certainly the Diamond League and what your involvement is with that.
Well, the Diamond League, it's a bit like it was set up back in 2010, and basically they wanted to create a circuit of the best one-day competitions in the world. So, a bit like how F1 have got all the Grand Prix and things. It's like the athletics equivalent to that. So it starts off in Asia. It started off just last week, actually, in Doha and Shanghai. Then it moves across to the USA. Then there's a few meetings in Europe, and Birmingham is one of them. So it's fantastic because it means that most of the best athletes in the world will be competing in Birmingham at the Alexander Stadium. As well as obviously the best athletes in Britain. The main draw this year is the fact that the 3 stars from Super Saturday at the Olympics, so Greg Rutherford, Mo Farah and Jessica Ennis-Hill, they'll all be competing there, as well as obviously a bunch of the other best athletes in Britain and from around the world.
Yeah, and the local guys, it's Matt Hudson Smith.
Yeah,
that's right.
Will he be competing?
He will be, yeah. He's actually they've set up a 300 metres race which is not contested that often.
That's a bizarre
It's
distance.
a bit of a random
yeah.
one.
It's a strange distance.
But it kind of works well because he'll be racing against, there's a guy called Martin Rooney, who won the European Champs last year.
400 running.
That's right, yeah. So Britain got 1-2 at the European Champs, Martin Rooney won and Matt Hudson-Smith got silver.
Nice.
Martin Rooney, he comes from a pretty much pure 400 metres background, whereas Matt comes from a 200 metres background.
Okay.
So 300, it's a really good, kind of meeting in the middle distance. So it should be a really, really good race between those.
Would you say that Matt's sort of, in terms of the West Midlands, our sort of leading light in terms of athletics at the moment?
He probably is at the moment.
Yeah. Have we got anyone else that's
We've got
up and
coming? There's a few athletes who they're not necessarily based in the Midlands, but they represent Midlands clubs. So Birchfield Harriers there's a long jumper called Shara Proctor. She actually equalled the British record last week, so she's in great form. Wow. And again, she could challenge for medals at the World Champs this year. And another good long jumper, Julian Reid. He jumped over 8 metres recently, and he could get on the team for the World Champs this year. So yeah, we've always got quite a few athletes who make the World Championships teams from Birmingham clubs.
Right. And if you're ever short, Gary can come do the high jump for you.
If you're ever short, thank you very much. It's ruining my life, that. There was a guy in the centre of Birmingham doing the high jump a couple of weeks ago.
Grobarts, wasn't it?
Oh, Robbie Grabbles, he represents, trying to think who his club is now. He doesn't actually represent one of the Birmingham clubs, but he does train in the Midlands. There's a load of really good jumps coaches in the Midlands. So his coach is based here and he trains here. He got bronze at the Olympics, so he's had a couple of tricky years since then, but he's kind of looking to get back to it.
I mean, generally in the Midlands, John, is it a good breeding ground for athletes? Are we more than other parts of the country? Do we tend to come up with more than others?
I don't know about more than others, but we do have a steady stream of athletes. Some years have been better than others. Obviously, back in the day, there's athletes like Denise Lewis, Catherine Merry, Mark Lewis Francis, and it kind of comes in waves. Sometimes there'll be events that are stronger than others for the Midlands, like heptathlon was always a really good event, whereas now it's kind of getting back to be more the sprints and jumps. So we've got Matt Hudson-Smith, there's a guy called Danny Talbot, again he's not necessarily based in the Midlands to train, but he represents a Birmingham club. And the high jumpers, long jumpers, triple jumpers, we always have a kind of steady stream of those making the team for major champs. And
from in the IAAF that you're with, how about schools and like the local councils? Do they help? Do the schools tend to get more into athletics? Because I remember when I was at school, it was always a big thing, and there seemed to be like inter-school championships and county stuff. And does that still go on, or? Yeah, it still goes on. Yeah, there's they'll have kind of regional schools competitions, and then there'll be like, say for example, I used to compete in the Sutton schools, which fed into the Midlands schools, and then the best athlete in the Midlands would compete at the English schools. And for kids of a school age, the English schools, it's like the Olympics for them. It's kind of a massive deal. Yeah. If you represent your county or your area at the English schools, you've kind of made it then. And if you kind of look back throughout the years of the athletes who not only won there, but it could be athletes who finished kind of further down the field, a lot of those do make it on to be successful senior athletes who represent Britain.
Just to add on to that, I mean, you'll know, John, I mean, in Jamaica, their sort of national school championships, the attendances there are huge, aren't they? And that's seen as a breeding ground for the future. Oh, yeah. I'm guessing you'd like to see something similar to sort of kick off over here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'd ever, because the scenes that you see in Jamaica, like, you see these pictures, that is their biggest. I mean, when you think about the stars they've got, Usain Bolt, all those kind of huge stars. But the event that will draw in the crowds is the schools competitions in Jamaica. They just go crazy for it. I don't know if we'll ever see kind of similar scenes in Britain. But yeah, I mean, it'd be good if there was more kind of public interest in the school scene, because do
the IAAF struggle with participation now in kids? Is it hard to get young people into athletics?
It depends on the country, really. Some countries are thriving more than others.
But what about here?
Here, it's never been too bad. I think obviously everyone would always like to see better participation at the younger level. But at the international level, championships start at the youth level, so under 18, that's the first kind of global champs. And there's actually going to be a World Youth Champs this year. It's every 2 years, and this year's a World Youth Champs. and then it goes on to juniors and then senior level. So yeah, Britain's, it's always been okay for young participation.
And just before we take a break, Diamond League on the 7th of June in Perry Bar at the Alexander Stadium. Tickets, how do people get hold of them? Are the tickets still available? Is there a website?
Yeah, there are tickets still available, both for that and for the British Championships a month later. If you just search online for British Athletics, you'll find their website, and from the homepage there you can get tickets.
Okay, and then let's because it's outdoors, obviously. That's what the weather is. Weather it has been. So,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Right, we're going to talk some more. In a few minutes, we're going to talk to the lads as well about free running, which is really interesting, and really looking forward to doing with that.
They're going to pull you in as well, Gary, to have a go jumping over the walls.
Thank you very much. Yes. So we'll be back after the break. And as always, if you'd like to get in touch with us here on Extra Time, if you've got any suggestions for guests you'd like to see us chatting to on the sofa, or if we're not talking about your sport, please tell us about it. It's extratime@bigcentre.tv. Back in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back. You're watching Extra Time with me, James Brackpool, Gary James, and guests Nick the Ninja Buckley, Jake Salt and John Mulkeen. Before the break, we were talking to John about athletics, and now we're going to talk to Nick and Jake about free running, as it were. But before we get talking to you guys, we've got a little clip of you in action, Nick, if we could show that now, and we'll get you to narrate. Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, that was a handstand. I'm going into the strides into a Kong. That was strides into a tuck jump. Nice little jump down from the stairs. Here's the hippo side flip. Brilliant part of the video.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is just generally strides across a bench, so 1 foot each. Oof. And then obviously the nice front.
I do that when I wake up.
That's brilliant. Okay, so there you have a couple of precisions, more strides, just generally some creative movement there.
And how fit do you have to be to be able to do stuff like that?
To be honest, you don't actually have to be the peak of your fitness, which a lot of people assume you do. You just need to generally be able to get about maybe a light jog and a little jump, maybe 1 or 2 foot. With a tuck, of course, because a lot of people can't jump straight in the air.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you later in the car park. We'll be all right.
When the camera's
You
on.
doing that?
Yeah. But how did you get involved, Nick? How did it come by you?
Well, literally, I was quite young. I was a youngster, a couple of years younger than Jake. Actually, I was about 14, 15, and I felt like I was losing my way. I had no interest in any other sports, or not very many hobbies, so I just thought, well, you know what, I really like ninjas. I'll be a ninja. So I started jumping about.
Yeah.
And
it's literally straightforward as that, was it?
Yeah,
and I know,
literally just that.
I know before you were saying that you got Jake involved as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was actually quite a special moment, really. I was around my area in Warsaw training, showing off some moves, some back somersaults, front somersaults and the lot. And then this young lad goes, wow, that's really cool. Can I watch?
Just like
and
that.
I've turned around. This young man, Jake.
Yeah.
And I've said, yeah, sure, come and watch, like. He's watched me for a bit and said, how do you get to learn that? Is there a club or something? Do I have to pay? You know, how do I find out how to learn about it? And I said, well, I can teach you some of the stuff that I know and put you forward towards some links on YouTube so that you can see the videos and have a look about learning from them.
Yeah.
And he's done just that, really, and he's come a long way. It's really good.
So how long have you been doing it, Jake?
3 years now.
Okay, so some time. And are you still at college? Are you working at school?
I've just left college and I'm going into an apprenticeship.
All right. Well, an apprenticeship doing what?
Woodwork and joinery.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, the trades. We're lacking, aren't we, in this country? So you've got into that, which is brilliant, and obviously you've got to be fairly disciplined to do what you do. And has it helped you along the way? Do you think, like some lads, you may have strayed into, as we hear so much about these days, the gang culture or sort of that around?
I'd say it's helped me quite a lot. Like when I was a lot younger, before I met Nick, I was quite naughty.
Yeah.
And
good lad.
Then when I got into free running, it was almost like a discipline. It helped my anger, helped with messing about on the streets, and instead I just wanted to go out and train.
Yeah. And some of your mates that you probably used to hang around with, they've seen you doing this. Do they want to get involved? Or are they? Because you're like a mentor now, aren't you, Nick? To them.
Pretty much. I mean, in my day job, I'm actually full-time employed at Devonport Housing Association. And of course it is stressful in the day, so I'll train on the evening, relieves a lot of stress. But on the evenings, most evenings, I'm actually coaching at Walsall Gymnastics Centre, doing the British Gymnastics 3G sessions, which is basically parkour and free running, but in a way that the British Gymnastics can control it to say, well, now it's a different sport because it's in a controlled environment, it's safe. There's none of this outdoor business that can cause injury and whatever else. So I'll coach there as well as on the street. You know, I'll have kids coming up to me, oh, can you do that again? And I'm like, do what? I didn't do anything. Ninja.
I love it. I got to ask the question. It's great for pulling the girls, isn't it?
Well, do you show them that video and say,
to be honest, I've not pulled a single girl from doing these movements.
No. Well, that might be because they think you know it's too dangerous for me to be involved. How dangerous is it?
Well, to be fair, the danger level depends on the individual, depends on how long they've been training, what kind of training they do. For example, if you have no idea about parkour and free running and you just go, right, he's just done a jump over a gap, I'm going to go and copy that. You jump over that gap, you're more likely to fall. Yeah. If you do a warm-up, basic warm-up, get your blood levels going, do some basic conditioning exercises, press-ups, sit-ups, squats, anything else you can think of really, hanging off a ledge even, then you're more likely to succeed when it comes to jumping that gap. You practice at a smaller distance first and then gradually increase, just like you would climbing a ladder really, or learning to walk.
And it's doing what you do with the free running and for you guys, is there anybody out there doing it professionally, earning a living? Like, cause what comes to mind is like stunt work or films or corporate videos. Sometimes you see with people doing what you're doing.
That's right, yeah.
Is the potential there?
There is definitely a potential there. I think there's already quite a few people, whether they're individuals or groups of people, that are actually able to make some kind of profit off the skills that they know and have learned, so that they can teach others, or as you say, get into the film industry, going on to do stunt work and commercials and everything else. I remember there was a commercial for the BBC at one point of a guy doing all this free running. He'd finished his office work and he's come out the window and he's jumping around all on these roofs and then jumps down, and I was just thinking, wow, that is incredible. Little did I know that guy was David Bell, and he's actually the guy that is said to have founded free running, well, parkour, should I say. And he's from France. It was apparently his dad that had started it with his military training, getting over the obstacle course. Right. And that's where the word parkour comes from.
Yeah.
Because in French it just means route. Pretty much.
That's really interesting.
Excuse my French, I'm not actually very good on that.
And John, do you ever, you know, obviously being involved with athletics and stuff, do you ever think that parkour has a sort of angle to be, you know, a recognised athletic discipline?
Potentially. It's funny you mentioned that French guy actually, because I believe he did actually have a background in athletics. I think he was a 400 metre runner or something like that. It was pretty good.
I imagine the crossover's pretty common,
but especially between, well, athletics and gymnastics, I reckon, is a big crossover. But also picking up what you're saying about the work that you do with British Gymnastics and how they're kind of incorporating it more, I think that shows that maybe there is potential for one day that maybe it could be included in the Olympics, because we see in the Winter Olympics with each games they seem to be more they seem to embrace newer events and newer sports a bit more than the Summer Olympics, but maybe one day the Summer Olympics will be more open to events like free running.
I'm guessing you'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, on one side I would, and on the other I wouldn't, because in a sense the only competition you really want when you're doing your parkour and free running is with yourself, because it's a constant battle of, can I do this jump? Can I make it? Do I know I can make it? I don't know. Okay, I'll go back and I'll train some more. I'll practice a smaller jump and then I'll get bigger again and then I'll go and do it. And you're constantly trying to overcome that mental fear that's saying, nope, you're not going to make it, even though you know full well your body will.
Yeah. But just on that you say jumping over gaps and getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
in a mindset, in like coming back to athletics, something like the long jump.
Yeah.
If you thought that sandpit as a gap, surely you somebody like you could actually be an incredible long jumper.
It is very possible. I mean, I would say anyone who's really into parkour and free running, the training that they would do could cross over into so many other sports, and it will cross over into so many different aspects of the life as well. Because as Jake was saying earlier, it's changed his behavioural methods since he started training, and also, to be honest, I feel it's changed mine as well since I've started training. When I was younger, I used to not feel like I never really had a place, like I never really had so many friends or whatever else. But when I started doing the movement that I do, the parkour and free running, I sort of felt, well, no, this is my zone, this is my place, there's no one else doing this, I am unique and this is me. Take it or leave it. Either way, I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
And I've progressed to the level that I'm at today. I can't say it's the biggest level, but it's there.
I don't want to make sort of too fine a point of it, but do you have much trouble with, obviously parkour's got that reputation of, you know, people running at places that they're not allowed? Is that something that you have to think about? And
we do have to be very careful sometimes because there are places where we'll go to train. There's not necessarily a trespassing sign or anything, or there's not one that is easily visible. So we'd go into the site, we'd train for a bit, and then you never know, the police could be called, and then next thing you know, we're being told, well, you can be arrested for being in there. And we're thinking, hold up, we didn't see any signs to say it was trespassing. Why, who's even called you? I don't understand. So, like, a lot of people generally as well will think it is about trespassing, and it is about climbing upon buildings, and it is about running across rooftops and jumping big gaps. It's not. It's about finding your level.
And it's opened my eyes today, probably about
absolutely,
you.
yeah.
But many thanks to our guests today. Unfortunately, time's beating us. That's it. It's full time on Extra Time. See you soon. Bye-bye.